Hi, I'm Tammy, and thanks for joining me. Today, I want to talk about a way to restore the integrity of essential oils in our lives. All too often, we think of them as bath and body care products. That's typically the way they're marketed, although we have seen, several companies talk about their therapeutic qualities. And while they do have medicinal values, they do have an effect on our system and can modify genetic expression just like anything can. There's no such thing as a therapeutic oil. I want to say that straight up front. There is just no such thing. That is a term that has been maybe patented, trademarked, I don't know. But it is on several, you can see it on labels, but it's not a qualification, and it certainly isn't a guarantee of that you're going to have safe results. Because like I said, every chemical that we consume modifies genetic expression, which means, this comes down to our own chemistry. Our own hormones actually activate and inactivate various genes within our bodies. And knowing that this is occurring every second that we are breathing, it's not fair to say that a particular essential oil is going to have this effect for you and everybody around you, or for that matter, is considered therapeutic. This is just basically a marketing term to get oils sold, but the quality of your oil is altered only in the sense that it is adulterated, and those can be demonstrated through a variety of tests, or if the producer or distributor is actually labeling them as genuine and authentic. Genuine and authentic means that there's no added chemicals to it, they have not been adulterated, and you're just getting pure essential oils, the secondary metabolites of plants. But as far as therapeutic quality goes, like I said, there's no such thing. You can say, you can take therapeutic dosages of supplements because you're taking more than what's recommended. But the reason it's considered therapeutic is because it's having a strong effect on the body, and the intent is to override any sort of malfunction that's occurring within your body. So using therapeutic amounts of essential oils, it's definitely going to have an effect on you, but whether or not it's a beneficial one, it really depends on your system and what you're dealing with. Which brings me to the next point, which is essential oils. We've seen books out there. You can go all over the internet and you can find particular oils with certain properties. In fact, most of them have very similar properties. And this is because they share, some of them, there's crossover in constituents. But again, then there's also constituents that don't exist in others, and that's what the synergy of these constituents is what makes it the oil unique. And that synergy, when it's applied to your system, is going to have its own results, and it could potentially trigger what we would consider adverse reactions, or in other terms, allergic reaction. But it doesn't necessarily mean that if you're using genuine and authentic oils that you're actually having an allergic reaction. I call it hypersensitivity. Sometimes if you start to detox too quickly, because, let me back up a minute. Essential oils do not heal. They do not cure. Nothing cures or heals the body. Only the body does. Anything that modifies genetic expression has the potential to stimulate the body to do what it's supposed to do and be healthy, but nothing cures the body and heals the body but the body itself. And this comes to essential oils as well. The inclusion of essential oils into your life makes a world of difference. I mean, seriously, a world of difference. I've been doing this for 30 years. I don't represent a company. I continually get my oils from producers from around the world, generally from the countries of origin. And because I know these farmers, I know the quality, and when they're in their native lands, the growing season is generally the same. When you start moving plants to other parts of the world, the growing season, the quality of the growing season or the quality of the soil varies. And so that's going to vary the quality of your oil. And I need as much consistency as I can get. This is part of the reason why we have pharmaceuticals, because we can at least guarantee the quality, the consistency rather, of the material that's being administered, whereas with the oils and plants, you can't guarantee what you're getting because the season changes, and as does your soil quality and the growing conditions and such. So I basically buy mine, like I said, in their native lands because that's a little bit more consistency. I don't get tea tree oil. You know, I know you can get tea tree oil out of Africa. It's harvested in Africa now, but the origin that I prefer is Australia, and you just get the same kind of good solid oil. Anyway, like I said, the fact that I prefer genuine and authentic is my preference. I don't buy anything off the shelf. I don't buy anything from this country. That isn't to say that somebody else's oils aren't good. You're going to get a therapeutic effect. A therapeutic meaning it's going, you know, we have this theory that therapeutic means good results. Therapeutic means it has a medicinal effect, you know, a stimulating or it has a physiological effect. I'll say it that way. And every chemical that we consume, whether it be through drinking, eating, breathing, applying onto our skin, everything affects us. So everything in essence has a physiological effect on us. Therefore, understanding what you're using, why you're using it, and more importantly, the outcome and what you're doing with the outcome. This is where I come in, because oftentimes we misinterpret what's happening and we quit, or we go on to something else, or we remain the same. That's the other one. We don't change. And the thing is the chemistry is consistently changing. So being able to work with the system is imperative. But those adverse reactions are something that most people become afraid of. And it's nothing to be alarmed of, but you have to have a second set of eyes and ears to offer reassurance, to provide you the guidance and how to, again, work with the system and adapt as your body is adapting. Because the moment you introduce something to your system, it's going to change. Sometimes we feel it, sometimes we don't. It's typically if we're getting good results and you know, the mind does funny things, and once we start getting good results, we sometimes disregard or don't even notice something else going on. So again, it's really important to, yes, you want to maintain homeostasis, but you keep in mind the body's changing all the time. I work a lot with mental health. I work a lot with stress-related disorders, autoimmune disorders, addiction recovery. And being able to regulate the neuroimmunity is where I find to be my specialty. But when you're doing that, you actually have to understand what the system is doing and how to calibrate the nutrients being taken in, and if there's oils being used, which I strongly encourage you to be including oils. And again, I don't care where you get your oils from. I really don't. You know, it doesn't matter to me. If you want to get them from me, that's great. I'm happy to do them for you, because I can promise you you're getting genuine and authentic, and you're not going to get a lot. Meaning a big complicated formula. That's what I want to say, because the more you use, the less effective it becomes. In my world, less is more. You want to encourage the body to do what it's supposed to do. And this works beautifully along pharmaceuticals. This isn't to take the place of pharmaceuticals. That's everyone's own decision, whether or not you want to use pharmaceuticals or not. But when I know that roughly 50% of the United States population is taking some form of psychotropic, there's a lot of people taking medications, and so this isn't to take the place of, and this, although it can, but it doesn't have to, and it doesn't have to interfere with the medication. In fact, it would actually enhance the medication. But understanding there again, the mechanism of action on that with those medications is essential when you're dealing with these plant essences, like these essential oils. You cannot employ the use of oils and not know what you're doing to the system. You just can't. And a book isn't going to tell you. Like I said, no matter what the label says, even when it says, genuine and authentic just is a promise that there's no added chemicals to it. Sometimes essential oils are, forgive me for saying this, but I know there are some companies, I don't know which companies, but I do know that there are lower grade companies that are producing low-end, low-cost oils, and oftentimes what they're doing is they're getting their shipments in, and then they are adulterating them. They are extending them with added chemicals to produce a fragrance, or to accentuate the fragrance. They're cutting them. This is not unlike a drug dealer, where you've got somebody who's kind of hard up and they need the cash, so they get their drugs, maybe it's an 8-ball, maybe who knows, and they start cutting it with other things because they want to extend the amount that they have and be able to sell it at the same price, therefore making even more money. This is happening in the essential oil field. The essential oil business is not immune to lack of integrity. That's how I want to say it. Everything is subject to being manipulated, and essential oils are no different. So, there has been over the years the statement that the more expensive the oil, the higher the quality. Well, that can be unfortunately taken the wrong direction too. So you really might want to develop a good reputation, and this is the reason why there are some companies where you at least have a network of people that's very at least solid, and that way you kind of know where things are coming from. But to just be purchasing randomly at stores or off the internet of a websites that you're not familiar with is not a really good idea, because you just don't know what you're going to get. And again, like I said, it doesn't necessarily make it bad or wrong. It just means that you're getting extra chemicals in there and that you could potentially have a hypersensitivity to it. And knowing the fact that our immune systems are as compromised as they are in the world, that's probably the most adapted genetic system that we have is our immune system. And knowing also that it is very diverse, meaning it changes rapidly between people. Nobody really has the same one. Your level of hypersensitivity to anything is going to be different from the person next to you. And this is, again, the reason why using a book and or a website to make your choices isn't to your advantage, because you just don't know what you're going to actually encounter. Again, it's not even a guarantee when I do it, but I can tell you that I haven't misstepped. And when we have had reactions that were discomforting, we worked around it. We worked through it. So I think I can only recall one that was really had to step back on how we were using it. But then again, there was actually a pharmaceutical involved that was accentuating the adverse reactions. So yeah, once we changed out the medication, then everything, and I didn't do it. I encouraged her to go back to her physician, and finally the doctor conceded and agreed to switch out medications. And at that point, there was no more adverse reactions. So these are the things that can occur. And again, it wasn't with the oils. It was actually her particular health issue was, it was interesting because it was a blood pressure med and she was dealing with psoriasis. And the blood pressure med has been reported in numerous cases to actually cause flare-ups in psoriasis. I had done my due diligence and pointed this out, and she took it back to her doctor, who wasn't real pleased, but was willing to at least hear her out and eventually work with her. So it wasn't the oils that were causing it; it was actually the medication. And like I said, once we switched out the medication, then everything kind of eased up. So this is the reason why it's important to really know what you're using and why you're using it and how you're formulating it. And the less you use, again, the more effective it is, and the more you're guaranteed a solid response by the body that can actually take what you're doing through nutrition and other things and begin to make a difference for you. Because the bottom line is, the essential oils, even though we're looking to relieve symptoms, and I think I've mentioned this in my last video, the last thing that you want to do is to play chemist, meaning, kind of like we do with our antidepressants and even our anxiolytics is, and my goodness, for that matter, just about everything that we're taking is it's regulating various chemicals within our body. It's regulating the dopamine, it's regulating the serotonin, the norepinephrine, the acetylcholine, the histamine. These are all being affected depending on the type of medication that you're taking. GABA is another one. That's there's a frequent gabapentin. And GABA that are in Lyrica. I mean, there's these meds that are being taken that affect the GABA levels. So again, when you're working with just one of those chemicals, the rest of the system is going to be out of whack. Now, again, I understand the intention behind trying to regulate that chemical from a medical perspective, but from a systemic perspective, that really kind of throws things off and adversely affects your immune system. So therefore, when you include the oils into this, you can actually begin to restore balance. Now, that said, there are oils out there that increase, they're known to increase dopamine production or slow dopamine production, increase serotonin production, increase estrogen production, testosterone. So you have to be really careful about what oils you're using, because if you begin to include one of those, then you have to understand how to, again, now you're getting into a lot of chemistry, and you could potentially trigger other issues. I'm just thinking of one constituent, off the top of my head, that can, after a long-term use, not when I say long-term use, I mean anything longer than 6 weeks, can begin to produce a neurotoxin, and that could potentially trigger seizures. And this is really not beneficial for anyone who is prone to seizures or potentially, has been living with seizures or has any, autism. Autistic people have a tendency to have their seizures. So that's my point, is you got to use caution and understanding how long to use something, how to change it out, and how not to affect one chemical but support the entire neuroendocrine system. And again, being able to regulate the use of these oils is where the concierge comes in, because you're in the midst of it. You're emotionally attached to your recovery, and it gets scary sometimes, or you don't understand why you feel this way. And so being able to modify the approach. So when I talk about healing crisis, and I've seen this a couple of times with other professionals, where they say the healing crisis doesn't last long and just work through it, and the body will have its reactions, but eventually it'll stabilize and settle down. I don't agree with that. It's simply because we don't need to be uncomfortable. I want people to be comfortable. I want them to understand that there's no hurry. It's almost building in stress relief when we do this, because what we do know is that when you are not as stressed, or you're practicing a more mindful approach to your healing process, your body responds in favorable ways. And so this is part of that. And again, like I said, there's no cost for this. You do the initial assessment with me, you get the oils from me, and you're good to go. And then from there, it's just, we talk, we visit, I support, and eventually that fades away because I'm teaching you along the way. And that's really what I want to say here, and help you understand that, there are people out there that understand how to use oils and how to work with them. And I'm one of them. I feel like the donkey on Shrek. I go, pick me, pick me. But I want to help you claim your wellness. I want you to rock it and feel solid, because we need you. We need you to be, to feel good. We need you to be okay in your body, and understand that this is perfectly imperfect. That, again, as I said, the chemistry is consistently changing. So the inclusion of oils doesn't mean that you'll never have another ache, or pain or hormonal imbalance. It's constantly changing. I've been living on them for 30 years. I'm currently in the stages of preventing Alzheimer's and Parkinson's. Yes, they both exist in my family. Been offset glaucoma and high blood pressure. Both of my parents have high blood pressure issues. My mother had both forms of glaucoma. So really working with my own system has been where it's at. And, I know what my future was holding, and I don't even know how it's going to go at this point. But I can tell you right now, I've never had high blood pressure. And both of my parents were on high blood pressure meds from their 30s. And it's not been a problem for me. And my memory's good. Yeah, it's an ongoing process. But if you're going to be taking OTCs, allergy meds, and painkillers, and potentially even prescription medications, my question is, if you got to take prescription meds, so be it. Okay, nothing wrong with that. This girl sees nothing wrong with that. It's up to you whether or not you want to continue that. And sometimes you have to. Sometimes you don't have that option. Supporting that with oils is a bonus. And it's a big plus in your court. If you want to come off pharmaceuticals, or you have that option, the oils are a bonus in that area too. If you're not taking any pharmaceuticals, but you have a tendency to run to the corner pharmacy and go get your OTCs for various reasons, and I'm not talking about, the cold, and again, that could very well be something that you could actually regulate with your oils. Using oils, like I said earlier, there is a symptom relief to it. But I was talking with a woman the other day that says to me, I have all this phlegm in the back of my throat, and I don't know what to do about it. What do you think I should do about it? And I said, you know what? Support your digestive system, support your liver, and let it detox, because that's what your body's trying to do right now. So supporting the liver health would be the most beneficial thing, because that phlegm is the body's way of flushing toxins. She lives in the farmland area, and Lord knows what's being stirred up out there. But we don't have to run and go take a decongestant or other medications, OTCs, that will help dry us up, or eliminate the pain, or cut the fever. If you got a fever, you can actually eliminate fever very easily with oils. So there's a whole spectrum in here. And again, I'm not even saying not to use OTCs. I know that there are people who do. I personally don't. I've learned how to just, and my body actually responds quite well. I will say this, with time, And the more you use it, the more your body actually responds to the oils. It sometimes takes a while because you've got other things going on. And I think this is the most important part, that you've been doing things for so long that to implement the use of oils, you're going to see reactions, and they may not be reactions that you actually like. This is here for me to say right now, and I'll get back into that. But at no point in time do I ever encourage the ingestion of oils, even if it's in a capsule form, because you're digesting it at that point. And that's not what you want to do. You want to get it into your bloodstream. So to take it internally, there is a way to do that. You can make a very easy, simple suppository, or for that matter, you can just sit in a bathtub with these essential oils and you'll actually get them internally because, well, I don't have to go any further as to how you would get them internally. So back to what I was saying, as far as if you've never used essential oils or you've only occasionally used essential oils and you're used to doing other things that conventional way, it's going to take some time to get your body to actually clean itself up. So you may actually have some detox episodes, and then you're gonna go, this isn't working for me, or this is not meant for me. And this is again where support is very helpful, and being able to explain this to you and encouraging you to continue to use these oils, because it will actually help stimulate the production of antioxidants. It'll actually help your lymph system move. It'll protect your kidneys. I mean, it does. The benefits far outweigh the minor aches and pains, the headaches potentially, the foggy-headedness. Again, these are all things that can be modified and reduced through support. So if it's not with me, get with another clinician, another aromatherapist, but have the support to talk you through this so that you can begin to extend and actually help your body go, oh, that's what I needed, and actually respond to you in an appropriate way, as opposed to like flipping out, going, what are you doing? I'm so used to you doing this, and now you're doing this. It's confusing. It's bottom line confusing to the body. And so, as I've also mentioned before, I really believe the oils contain a life force to them that with time actually breathes life into our cells and can extend the health of our cells and add a quality to our life that otherwise will not be there. So again, patience as you begin to use them, reaching out for support and going, hey, what the heck is going on? You know, as I mentioned earlier, there's an assessment and there's purchasing oils from me. If you don't purchase oils from me, I'm happy to do a per diem consult and just kind of talk you through, you know, and we can work out the logistics for that. That's also on my storefront, which the link is in the description box below. So I'm again happy to walk you through this and begin to explain things to you. And because my goal is that you actually use the oils. That's it. I mean, I've been doing it for 30 years, and I guess I'm an essential oil advocate. And that's what I really came here to tell you today, was like, hey man, we got these things and they're here for our benefit. Don't be afraid of them. Understand that your body is merely reacting to all the chemicals that you're putting into it. And when you add the oils to the mix, it starts to get confused. So if you would like somebody to at least walk you through what's going on with your body and help regulate that so that you remain encouraged, I want to be the encourager. I want to encourage you to continue and stick with it and give your body a chance to clean itself out so that you respond fully to the oils. There you have it. So that's my plea for today. And if you have any questions, let me know. This kind of took me a while to warm up to it, and so if you hung with me, thank you so much. But it's really important that you understand that these oils are here for your benefit, and I'm here to help you benefit from the oils. So let me know how I can support you. Again, there's a link in the description box, or you're welcome to email me at tammy.davis8@gmail.com. Thanks. Until later, have a beautiful afternoon.